Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into the show that's on in the afternoon. We have got a great show to end this week.
Funny Man Friday. Here we go.
There you go.
All right.
We've got Derek Coghlan in studio here with us. He's got a new show coming back to the Waterworks.
Yes,
Very
sir.
exciting, man. Very funny guy. Can't wait to see this. This is going to be great. And it's right around the corner, so people need to be ready to get their tickets here. Like pretty much now.
Yeah. Nothing for you here except a brilliant evening with Derek. That's it. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we'll talk to Derek about that in just a couple of minutes. We'll have your horoscopes. We will have your events, your funnies, all that good stuff. It'll be a great show. We'll start off by telling you about some great people. Bozard Ford Lincoln, what an amazing family. Very lucky to have them here in our area. They've been more than just a dealership since 1949. They're, in fact, a family-owned beacon of trust right here in St. Augustine. Founded on honesty, integrity, and community service, that Bozard family tradition continues to thrive to this very day. An amazing state-of-the-art service facility, 91 climate-controlled bays, a quick lane for no appointment-needed maintenance, and you can always enjoy the comforts of their customer lounge and the unique flavors of Ford's Garage while you're out there. They offer the best in pricing, selection, and service. Bozard Ford Lincoln, just off I-95 and State Road 16, where your satisfaction is their mission, and they are driven to inspire. And the Bailey Group, getting enrolled in a health insurance or Medicare plan does not and should not have to be complicated. In fact, it should be quite the opposite. And it is at the Bailey Group. You're going to work with a local insurance advisor that's going to help you find just the right insurance coverage for your specific needs, goals, and your budget, of course. Their goal is to make getting covered simple with no added costs or no extra fees. The Bailey Group handles individual health and Medicare, corporate benefits, and financial needs for their clients. Let them do just that for you today. 904-461-1800. Derek, welcome back, man. How you been?
Good. It's good to be back. It's good to be here.
Man. Good to see you.
What have you been up to since the last time we talked to you?
Oh, Lord. So many different things.
Let's go.
So many different things.
Name them all right now.
Okay,
In
so-
alphabetical order.
I spent most of last week drunk.
Okay, all right, great. We're on the same page
Yeah.
there. Perfect. So the new show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about this here. Nothing for you here.
Nothing for
That's
you
a bold
here.
name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what my father used to say to us.
Okay.
Because he didn't want us to stay in Ireland because it was miserable. And so my dad would regularly, you'd be having breakfast and my dad would be sitting over in the corner, chain smoking, and reading the paper, and he'd look over and go, well, there's nothing for you here.
Okay.
And every time you talked about somebody else from our small little town was emigrating, my dad would just nod sagely and say, well, there's nothing for them here.
Okay.
And so it was...
So are we going to get any material inspired by your childhood then?
Yeah, and this is material inspired by the idea of, we all knew we had to emigrate. We all knew that it was a real possibility that everybody was going to try it or go. And it was kind of built into our lives as kids. We knew people who left, and everybody in every family had somebody who was leaving, and so
Really?
it's a story of emigration and coming to America. And
How old were you?
I was 21 when I came to America.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I was thinking even younger. I was thinking like 8 or 9. So this was a big switch in your life paradigm, right?
Yeah. I'd been in Germany for 6 months before that.
Wow,
and,
angry, very dark time.
Yeah, it suited us, we connect on the darkness, that kind of thing. They were too clean, though, and regimented for me, America suited me better,
a little
more
dirty.
scattered,
Especially in the South, right?
Yeah, it was kind of great.
Now, do you remember coming to America and do you have vivid memories of it and what your expectations were versus when you were here for a couple of months and you're like, oh, this is the real America, huh?
So the reality, so what we see of America, pretend this is, I grew up in the 1980s. So our view of America, and particularly Florida, it was Miami Vice, right?
Yeah.
And we had an idea of Disney.
Okay.
And I came in June of 1990, and I came to Jacksonville.
Oh, boy.
Amazing. Wow, what an adventure.
Yeah.
And you were immediately robbed.
So it was extraordinary because it was nothing like the America, and I also seen Hill Street Blues and, maybe Beverly Hills Cop and that kind of thing. So our idea of America and the reality of coming to a place like Jacksonville in 1990 was just so mind-blowingly different.
Yeah.
I remember being confused why there was no sidewalks. Really? I couldn't wrap my head around no sidewalks.
Okay.
And the metric system doesn't exist.
No,
It's
all different, right?
Like it's just okay.
Do they over in Ireland? Do they like make fun of how we talk? Like because obviously we have these two different variations of our language, right? Do you have like an American accent that you guys can fool around with?
So again, our American accent was all based on things like John Wayne, or Clint Eastwood. We love that kind of America.
Macho, yeah.
But I had no idea that there was a Southern American accent. So I get to Jacksonville, and my first job is I'm working in a warehouse off of Arlington on Caravan Trail, and I'm reconditioning televisions. Like, it's a terrible job.
Wow.
They would buy old TVs from motels and bring them in, and we were supposedly fixing them. But what we were doing was spray painting them and then putting new knobs on them, right? So you can imagine the clientele that worked there.
Yeah.
I had no idea what people were saying to me.
Really?
Like, no idea.
Yeah.
They would just, hi, man.
Yeah.
Hi,
Oh,
man.
Southern
Where are
is
you
its
from?
own language. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a cultural experience. Let's put it that way.
So how long in that cloud did it take for you to actually start getting the cadence of being in the U.S.?
Probably not until I was a couple of weeks in Jacksonville, and then it came down to St. Augustine.
Okay.
And St. Augustine was totally different.
Yeah.
It just had, it was a much quieter town back then, but you still had the downtown, you still had that feel, and that made me feel, a little more secure, a little safer. Not safe in, I thought Jacksonville was dangerous, but safe in, I can understand what people are saying to me. Yeah, because initially, but nobody understood me.
Right.
Like, I would say things and people go, huh?
Yeah, they're like, what did you say?
I had one girl, she goes, sweetie, I have no idea what you just said.
Slighty.
But
What's this English man talking about out here?
I love the way you talk, Australia boy.
Right, exactly. Probably nobody nailed it was Irish, right? They just heard a different accent.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Australian? English? Yeah.
And again, it's 35 years ago. There really weren't that many people from outside of here living here.
Mm-hmm.
When I see it now, there's tons of Irish people, there's tons of people from all over, but this was pretty small.
Yeah.
And I think
There's
people
the
who
farmers and the Menorcans and the shrimp guys, yeah.
like, you went out past 95 on State Road 16. There was nothing.
Right.
Like, there was one 312 range, and there was nothing beyond 312.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
this was a different place.
Yeah.
And so,
Very
it
much.
felt a bit foreign, but,
So when you do these one-man shows, I mean, you're obviously talking about immigration, and I'm sure there's immigrants in the audience too.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that interaction with other stories of immigration?
Yeah, loads of times. You talk about it, and then people come and they tell you your story, their story, and a lot of the Irish people, we have very similar stories. Particularly if it's people of the same kind of 10, 15 year window either side. But yeah, I mean, America's a country of immigrants. So everybody, unless you're Native American, like,
God bless. Yeah.
So I do have loads of great stories from with loads of people over the years.
How long does it take you to put a show like this together?
From when I get an idea of it, like sometimes it comes pretty quickly.
Really?
I kind of have an idea and I'm thinking, okay, this is what I want to do with it. And so I'll throw some ideas down and then let it grow from there. But it could be anywhere from a couple of months to a couple of weeks. Sometimes it'll come together pretty quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you test it out? You have a pool of friends, and you're like, "Hey, listen to this story real quick. You get a funny bone on this one."
I have a very long-suffering wife. No, I something like Chelsea's show, I was able to try out a little bit of a material there. For the most part, I'll run it myself. I'll kind of run it through my own head, and I've got a fair idea of what I want to do, and I'm usually confident enough. But there's sometimes I've done shows, and I'm like, oh, this is not working.
Yeah. That's a feeling for real.
I know that moment.
yeah.
That's the worst. Yeah, but you actually know your audience, and you build on that because you know where the humor's going to hit. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm a teacher as well, so we spend all our days performing and telling stories, and if I can keep. My seniors, my 12th grade class, 6th period on a Friday, if I can keep them from shutting down.
That's actually a pretty good test of if you can hold an audience in real life. Yeah. So I remember hearing something from Jerry Seinfeld one time who said, he has a strategy of hit him hard right out of the gate. Give him a hilarious joke. I mean, set the tone right out of the gate, right from the first second. Do you have any like kind of strategies on getting the audience involved? Do you have kind of strategies when you're writing your shows?
So I think if you can connect, we live in a world where everyone is a bit, divided right now.
Yeah.
But everybody connects over things like music, or connects about things like dancing, or having a beer.
Food,
and I think and food, right? There's universal community things, and I find if I tell my first piece, my first bit, my first story, something that no matter where you're from, you're going to understand what it's like to get dressed up, to go out, to go to a dance, to have a beer, to be with people like that.
Okay.
That's always a good place to start. But even things like coming to America, an immigrant experience is something that most Americans, either understand from a personal narrative or from their family's narrative.
Sure.
Or they have opinions on it from watching the news on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah.
But it is important. You can't talk about things that are too out there, too esoteric. You have to ground it in a reality.
Can you give us a little tease or a little story that you're going to share?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with a little bit about, going to nightclubs in Ireland in the 1980s. And then go from there kind of thing. And then, talking about going to concerts, going to that kind of idea. But there's one moment for me, and I'll remember it the rest of my life. I was leaving a concert in 1987, a big outdoor U2 gig. And I'm leaving just, the sun's gone down, the city lights are the backdrop. And as I'm walking out, I look up into the stands. I'm, 2/3 of the way up, in the upper deck. My older brother, Finian, is sitting there, and there's nobody around him. Right, he's just there, and we lock eyes. Probably 60,000 people at this concert.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And we lock eyes, and he stands up and he bows and he salutes me, and I don't see him again for 9 years after that.
What? Wait, what?
Because he was leaving the next day, but he didn't tell us.
Oh,
He never
wow.
9 years. Yeah, he didn't tell anybody he was leaving, and he left for Australia the next day. And then he went to South Africa, and then he went to England. And, I left 6 months later, went to Germany, then I came here. But
This is like a U2 song. Like, I feel like, brothers 9 years.
yeah, it's that kind of anthemic thing. But yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about, that kind of,
Okay.
that.
Oh, I want to know more of that story. That's a great
Right.
tease. That's
And it was
a good
such a
one.
different world back then. I mean, people left all the time. Like you were talking about, people left your area all the time. And it was like, you could be pen pals. You could write each other letters. You could call each other on the phone a little bit, right?
A little bit, but it was so expensive.
Right.
Like, it was unbelievably. If you talked, when I was in Jacksonville or down here in the early 90s, if you called Ireland for half an hour, that could be a couple of $100. That could be $200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there was just nothing.
Wow.
And so we would call once a month. There's no internet, there's no news, there's nothing.
Wow.
And it is a different world.
Yeah.
And when you left, you left.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you could call home or anything like that. And I tell people this now, my wife still doesn't really believe me, but credit cards weren't a thing in Ireland.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Like, so when I
Saying you
came
still
out
have bar
here,
tabs open in Ireland that you're not paying?
Right.
yeah. So you just had cash. So I remember coming to America with cash in my pocket, but that was it.
Yeah.
And you really had no way of doing anything. But, again, today, it's just a different world.
100%.
Totally different world.
Yeah. Man. So what do you think your younger self would think of you now, what you're doing here, headlining a show, living the good life in not Jacksonville?
I think, again, going back to the words of my father, it would be very much, who do you think you are? Where do you get off? Like, it'd be that kind of, yeah, we were very cynical and bitter. The rain would do that to you,
The rain.
Were both of your parents that way, or just your dad?
They were both that way. My dad was more tongue-in-cheek about it, really and truly. Yeah, he was a pretty funny guy.
Okay.
But he's very Irish.
Yeah.
My family, like, we were one of the weird families who didn't leave until my older brother and I left. Like, I think 7 or 8 generations of my dad's family were baptized in the church, and we grew up across the road from the church. Like, I could hit it with a stone.
Ooh.
You know, my mother was very much like that, but she meant it. Like, she was just mean.
Yeah.
Like, kind of bitter, like the rain broke her years ago, you know. And I think it broke her great grandmother or something like that, you know. Just don't get over that. Yeah.
I'm just picturing your life story starting out with your mom sitting by the window when it's raining, and the rain broke her that day. You know, it just kind of starts from there.
Yeah, it's so weird because she used to sit there and she'd be just chain smoking and muttering. And my mom is still alive. Like, she's 80. She'll be 88 this year.
Wow.
And if you went
Good
back,
advertisement for smoking cigarettes.
right? And bitterness.
There you go.
But if you went back today, she'd be sitting out the window looking out, just come. Yeah.
That's
Same thing. Yeah.
So I know the show is super personal, but what do you hope the audience is going to take away from this?
Don't visit Ireland.
Okay.
I'm like the anti-tourist board for Ireland. I hope they get an understanding of what it's like coming to America, of what it's like to be an immigrant, of what it's like to be an American.
Yeah.
Like, I am really proud of being an American. Like, I talk about becoming a citizen.
Yeah.
I talk about the naturalization process, and I talk about the day of getting citizenship and
At Ellis Island.
I tried. They told me closed
Oh, wow. Okay.
because of people like you.
Because of the Irish.
No, it was very romantic. It was in the Duval County School Board building.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't
Classy.
been there, it looks like it was designed by lobotomized East German architects.
Woo, all right.
That is
Love it.
You're good
beautiful.
for tourism all of everywhere you go, aren't you? Wow.
Please get on the
I
TV
try to
studio.
help. I try to help.
I heard the TVC is hiring. You might want to apply.
Yeah,
See
man.
what I can do. Yeah, they'll love me.
So give me dates, give me times, and let people know how they can get tickets, please. This is going
All
to be
right,
great.
so tickets is on. You can get tickets on Eventbrite.
Okay.
It's nothing for you here on Eventbrite. It's April 4th and 5th, Friday, Saturday night at the Waterworks, 8 p.m. Show run time is about 75 minutes. And I'll drink beer with you afterwards, maybe even during the show as well. So,
Fantastic. Yes. You have to.
Good deal. Derek Coghlan, thank you for coming in, brother.
Gentlemen,
Always fun talking to you.
thank you
man.
very much indeed.
Yes,
Always
sir.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. I love talking to Derek. He's
My
just,
face hurts from laughing so hard.
I know. It's great, man. It's going to be a great time.
Yes, sir.
Great
It's gonna
time.
be
The
awesome.
Waterworks is a great venue for these
Get
shows,
those tickets.
man.
You want something fun, something extraordinary to do, go see Derek live.
Something
He's awesome.
different.
Yeah.
Something totally different than you're
Great
used to doing.
storyteller.
I love it. Hey, speaking of great storytellers, Old Town Trolley, they're pretty good at telling people about our area and all the tales and charming history. Over 500 years of history, by the way. And you will experience some unforgettable views on their open-air trolleys. Guests going to enjoy the city's European flavor, the brick-lined streets and the sights like the Castillo de San Marcos, the Fountain of Youth, Henry Flagler's former Ponce de Leon Hotel. It's a great thing to do with friends and family who are visiting in town. Your trolley ticket also includes free admission to the St. Augustine History Museum, free shuttle service to many area hotels, and free access to the St. Augustine Beach Bus Shuttle Service. So again, if you got people coming into town, nothing better than to get them on an Old Town Trolley. They're the green trains. Don't forget that. We love them. You will too.
Look, I want to talk about something I take very seriously, which is air conditioning.
All right.
I can't live without it. So when was the last time someone gave your home unit some love and some inspection? So for the fabulous 45 years, All American Air has been the AC hero of St. Augustine and beyond. We're talking St. John's, Flagler, Duval, and Putnam counties. They're not just the experts or the cool cats of warranty and non-warranty service work. They have preventative maintenance agreements, new construction installations, and rocking high efficiency systems from the Lennox Wonders to the ultra-smart iComfort thermostat. They're there to make your unit run efficiently. Give them a call, 904-461-0070.
All right. And our friends at Bin 39. Quietly existing in the hustle and bustle of downtown since 2016. Wow, they're coming up on 10 years.
I know, doing
That's
great.
really awesome.
It's awesome.
Quaint little location inside the lobby of the St. George Inn with a spectacular courtyard setting in the north end of St. George Street. They offer incredible atmosphere, great vibes, perfect for an intimate gathering or a spontaneous after-work unwind. They have over 95 wines and an amazing selection, a selection like nobody else in town. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Open 8 to 8 daily. Bin 39. Check them out. They're great.
Yes, sir.
Horoscopes are not great. Capricorn and Pisces on deck today. Let's do it. Capricorn, The Everest of horoscopes for your practical mind conqueror, whatever that means. Those were just words strung together. If success were measured in complaints, you'd be at the top of your game today. As you pursue an improbable goal with relentless determination, something insignificant will trip you up. It's basically a metaphor for your entire life. Ambitious, yet repeatedly thwarted by insignificant roadblocks. You'll probably blame yourself for everything from the weather to global peace. So remember, be kind to yourself. Nobody else.
Be kind, rewind.
Oh, there you go, Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Blockbuster.
So does Ruben.
Yeah, he does. Ruben stuttered.
So perfect.
Good show yesterday. Pisces, today you'll embody the artistic sadness of a poet who just found their coffee has gone cold.
Wow.
The tangible reality will blur and your dreams will flounder like fish out of water. I get it, because Pisces, fish.
Oh,
there you
makes
go.
sense now.
Good tie-in. Good tie-in, stars. Emotions will wash over you like a clumsy tsunami, drenching your empathy and leaving you soggy and spent. Beware of illusions that promise satisfaction, much like ordering your favorite dessert and finding it tastes like disappointment. Remember, tomorrow could be better, though knowing the universe, it probably won't be. Sure. I don't know why it just ended on sure.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. You want to smoke like a bro?
Sure.
All right. Well, how
What?
about smoke like a pro?
Okay.
This is coming in from Jimmy Jam. This is a pretty cool announcement. Exclusive barbecue class with obviously Ryan King from King's Barbecue and Elite Barbecue Smokers. This is happening Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. Award-winning recipes and techniques. $250 gets you the class. Your instructors are Ryan King and Jason Hardy. I think they're like ultimate grandmaster barbecuers out there. This is pretty amazing. Register today. There's limited spots, but this is going to be pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get them in studio. We can learn a little bit more about it. I love this fundraiser. Very innovative. Go to jimmyjamoutreach.com to find out more or get some tickets today.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Hey, there's a Broadway rave happening. What is this?
What?
Cafe 11.
Oh, there you go.
It's a musical theater dance party. This is something that maybe Rick might show up to.
Okay.
Friday, May 30th, St. Augustine, Cafe 11. So, oh yeah, St. Augustine, you've done your vocal warm-ups yet. Don't be wicked. Meet us on the dance floor at Cafe 11. Friday, May 30th for a Broadway rave is coming your way to celebrate the most musical theater with you.
Well,
Wow.
that sure is interesting.
A rave?
A Broadway rave.
Yeah, right? Your name's Molly. Hopefully you show up at the door.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Backyard Rule. We love Nate. Backyard Rule is doing some great things with St. Augustine Little League. They're having a tournament this Sunday, 1:30 p.m. I'm telling you, they do some really, really cool things. Round up your team of 4 or 5 ball players. All ages are welcome. Love that. Again, this is happening March 30th. Only a few days left, so don't miss out on this epic, fun-filled tournament for the whole family. Gather your squad and register now before spots are gone. This is happening over at the A.D. Davis Field. We love that over at St. Augustine Little League. Yeah, check that out. Register now. I'll put link in comments, backyardrule.com.
Mike Davis has his own field?
He does.
Wow.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Jeez,
He has his own
that's
Little
awesome.
League field out there.
Well,
Yeah.
that kind of smokes your burger, Troy. And our burger, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's definitely
All right. Well, Mike Davis did
Cinderella
something
story.
better than us today.
That's amazing.
It's different.
Good for him.
Just kidding. Mike Davis is a great guy. The
Amazing
whole
human.
Davis family, great people. Hey, if you need a little bit of renewal, Elace Med Spa. Check them out. Refresh, rejuvenate, and glow at Elace Med Spa. Hydrofacials, Botox, dermal fillers, laser treatments, state-of-the-art care, and the latest technology and expert providers. From self-care to beauty enhancements, it's Elace all the way. Check them out, elace.com.
And Panache, they've been living the fabulous life since 1987 and invite you to their pamper party. Their mission is simple, to sprinkle joy from head to heart, one guest at a time. From a chic haircut to a soul-soothing massage, the team is all about pampering you to the max. I know they are going through it out there with that parking lot. I got to give a big shout out to Michelle and the team. They are doing awesome. So if you have any appointments out there for Panache, Michelle wants me to remind you, show up a little bit extra. Give them a little, like a 10-minute window, just to make sure everything runs nice and efficiently for you. They will shuttle you from your car to the salon and make sure that you get back nice and safe. So go to getpanache.com and get with it, boo.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
All right, memes that might be exactly what you need right now, okay? We're going to try this out here. Okay, this first one, I left my teddy in the room and the housekeeper did this.
Wow.
I would 100% tip this out. I was like, you really thought about the moment, right? Next up, I'm convinced that Carol Baskin murdered her husband. That's what coming from O.J. Simpson back in the day. And then finally, an expert has weighed in from Philip Lewis.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
Next up, my body is a temple. Yours is a nightclub. And then the lady goes, temples are open to everyone. Nightclubs have restricted access. Nice try.
Boom.
Love that. Yes. Next up, tell me what you're smiling about today. And then this guy goes, my girl cheated on me with a married man and the wife beat her up.
Wow.
Next up, wow, Lauren, 21, hands down the best catch on Tinder. Face 10 out of 10, body 9 out of 10, personality 20 out of 10, arms 1 out of 2. Seems like she's a keeper, even if she's not too handy.
Yeah, she's cute, man.
Next up, yelled downstairs, Mom, Dad's home. She did not find it as funny as I did. It was obviously his cremated remains. Yeah, that wasn't a good joke there, Buster.
Okay.
Next up, is Jesus fighting people? Jesus, 6 o'clock, parking lot. I wasn't quite sure there. It's just like, yeah.
That's great.
Next up, man carries away fridge he bought for girlfriend after catching her cheating. You know how mad you gotta be to carry out a refrigerator?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
she ain't having nothing I paid for.
Right. And last one today. I had a vasectomy today. Wife got me some snacks. Nutless buddy.
Wow.
Sorry about your tender balls.
No more kids?
No nuts.
No nuts. I like that. And then the last one.
Leave that there for the viewers' enjoyment.
Woo! All right. That was great. All right. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Bye, everybody.